It's official, Meghan Markle is now selling Lily. We knew this was coming. She's doing it against Prince Harry's wishes.
When your carefully curated empire of perfection starts visibly crumbling, you need a reset. So the Duchess of Sussex drove to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, smiled for a series of very deliberate photographs, and let the hospital's own Instagram account do the rest. Crisis Management 101.
Because of what we know now, we will be way more cautious and hesitant of allowing our kids to have access to social media. But the problem is so many parents don't have that awareness.
October 29th, 2025, Prince Harry sits across from Hassan Minhaj on his podcast and says, and this is a direct quote, "You should be really, really worried, concerned, and cautious about putting photographs of your kids online, especially now with this surge of unregulated AI. You simply don't know where it could end up."
In no logical, fair, ethical, moral world should a parent have to consider that this app that sits on the phone.
That's not vague. That's not accidental. That's a man speaking directly into a microphone, warning parents across the world. Your children's faces don't belong on the internet. Keep that in mind, because what happened over the next 29 days didn't just challenge those words, it completely unraveled them. On February 11th, 2026, Harry stood inside a Los Angeles courtroom, visibly emotional, beside 50 grieving parents whose children had died due to social media. He told them, "None of you should be here." He described how Meta and Google, in his words, were devaluing children's lives. This wasn't PR. He was close to tears. 3 days later, Meghan posted a Valentine's Day photo on Instagram. Harry holding Lilibet, her face fully visible. No filter, no blur, shared with the entire world.
Part of Meghan's sinister plan to commercialize her children, to pimp them out for financial gain, and I'm not being sucked in by it at all.
March 12th, 2026. Children's Hospital, Los Angeles. Meghan walks in alone. No Harry, wearing a black face mask, white shirt, and beige cardigan. She sits inside something called the Creative Oasis and paints watercolor roses with sick children. She colors Hello Kitty drawings. She visits patients confined to their beds, unable to leave their rooms. Then CHLA's official Instagram account posts the photos. Children's faces visible, public, tagged, promoted as part of their Make March Matter campaign, an annual fundraiser that has raised over $15 million since 2016.
She knew what she was doing. She included their faces, Angela, because do you know what she's now going to say to her hapless husband? "Oh, H, they're already out there. They're already out there, H. So of course I've got to use them to sell my clothes, to sell my wine, to sell my makeup, to sell whatever else comes in."
Here's what CHLA wrote. "We were honored to welcome LA's own Duchess of Sussex to CHLA's Creative Oasis, where she spent time painting alongside our incredible patients. Now, before we go further, let's be clear. This visit was real. CHLA is a legitimate institution with a 125-year history. They invited her. She showed up. She didn't storm in with a camera crew. But the timing, 29 days after Harry told grieving parents that social media companies were devaluing children's lives, matters. Her hospital visit resulted in photos of other people's sick children being shared on social media for a campaign that partly relies on Instagram engagement. Is that Meghan's fault? She didn't run the account, but she posed for those photos knowing exactly where they would end up. And that's what didn't sit right with a lot of people. Angela Levin, royal biographer, author of Harry, Conversations with the Prince, posted on X the next day. What she wrote hit hard. "I was told she left after 17 minutes. And then, she won't let her own children be seen, but pushes ill children into the spotlight so she can appear caring."
Meghan is partially sitting on a child's hospital bed, and her face lands almost exactly in the center of the frame, with the child, an actual patient in an actual patient in an actual hospital room, arranged around her, like a studio prop.
Now let's be honest about the sourcing. Levin said, "I was told." She didn't name her source. She wasn't present. No independent outlet has confirmed that 17-minute claim. In fact, IB Times UK described the visit as lasting several hours. So yes, the duration is unverified. The 17-minute accusation comes from a single unnamed source, and that's exactly how it should be treated. But remove the 17 minutes entirely. Forget the number. The real question was already obvious. How does a family that refuses to show its own children's faces, that files lawsuits, blocks photographers, and lectures the world on privacy, end up participating in photo ops involving other people's sick children on Instagram? You don't need a stopwatch. You just need a calendar. October 29th, February 11th, February 14th, March 12th. 4 dates, one pattern, and that pattern doesn't depend on 17 minutes to be damaging. This wasn't the first time, and that's what turns an incident into a pattern.
You two don't go anywhere without a whole entourage because you're paranoid about your security, but you'd go into such a delicate place where there already is grief and chaos.
January 10th, 2025. Harry and Meghan visited Altadena and Pasadena 5 days after the Eaton fire began, a fire that killed at least 19 people and destroyed over 9,000 buildings.
They were just looking for the right photo opportunities. They just are desperate to continue to be seen as members of the British royal family.
They served food at the Pasadena Convention Center alongside World Central Kitchen, wore N95 masks, and remained relatively anonymous for the first few hours.
Disaster opportunists, which is exactly right. Disaster tourists.
Then the cameras showed up, and so did the backlash. Actress Justine Bateman didn't hold back. She posted, "Meghan Markle and Harry are no better than ambulance chasers. What a repulsive photo op. They don't live here. They are tourists. Disaster tourists."
Visited Uvalde in Texas, laying flowers at a memorial for the victims of the mass school shooting. Meghan Markle also donated food and drinks to a blood drive at a local community centre.
Candace Owens mocked the visit. Thomas Markle Jr. went on GB News and said, "It's totally wrong what she's done." Tom Bauer, investigative biographer, went further in his book Betrayal, March 2026. He claims the visit was suggested by advisors, coordinated, and that the footage posted on Meghan's Instagram was intentional content, not spontaneous compassion. Did Pasadena Mayor Victor Gordo defend them? Yes. He said they came to work, not for publicity. That's a first-hand account. But here's how patterns work. 1 visit gets defended. Fine. 2 visits get defended. Fine. 3, 4. At some point, the question changes from, was this visit genuine, to why does every act of compassion come with cameras and a press cycle? The Altadena fires, the hospital visit, and before that, Uvalde in 2022. Same backlash, same photo ops, same accusations. Brett Cross, father of a Uvalde victim, told Newsweek in December 2024 that Meghan arrived without media and even told them to leave. He said she stayed in contact afterward. That's genuine, but it's also the exception, not the pattern. Tom Sykes from the Daily Beast wrote on March 13th, "The photographs of Meghan Markle with young patients make me feel a bit queasy." But he added, "Her presence clearly brought joy to children undergoing treatment." Queasy and meaningful. That's the contradiction. Now here's where it gets even more complicated. Tracy Ryan, mother of 13-year-old Sophie, battling brain cancer, spoke after the hospital visit. Meghan was warm, kind, and incredibly attentive. That moment meant everything to us. When critics attacked her, she responded, "It's easy to judge from the outside. What we experienced was kindness. And that matters." But here's the uncomfortable truth. This defense actually deepens the issue, not solves it. Because no one is accusing Meghan of being cruel. The criticism was never about what happened inside the hospital. It's about what happened after. The Instagram posts, the professional photos, the timing, 29 days after Harry stood with grieving parents and criticized social media. If it was about kindness, it didn't need content. If it was about fundraising, then say that clearly. But you cannot campaign against children's exposure in February and participate in it in March. Not without people noticing. And they did. Because here's the reality. Their own children, Archie and Lilibet, are shielded, protected, hidden. But other people's children? Their faces appear online within hours. Privacy becomes selective. So where does this leave us? Not with the question, does Meghan care? That's too simple. The real question connects everything. October, February, March. Each moment alone, is defensible. Together, they create a pattern that's harder to ignore. Emily Andrews wrote, Archie and Lilibet are part of Meghan's family brand. And Ingrid Seward added, it's baffling Harry allowed this, given how much he criticizes media exposure. There's a phrase people keep using, rules for thee, but not for me. It used to sound harsh. Now it sounds like a timeline. And timelines don't lie. But even this hospital visit isn't the biggest issue right now, because Tom Bower's betrayal just dropped. And what he claims about the marriage itself makes this entire controversy look small. 5 accusations. 1 response. They called him deranged. And when a couple attacks the author instead of the claims, there's usually more beneath the surface. That story is next. This is Star Spotlight, where the shine fades and the details tell the truth.